Ocean life ranges in size from the smallest virus to the largest animal that has ever lived on Earth, the blue whale. Most life in the ocean exists as microbes. Microbes are the most primary producers in the ocean. Not only are they the most abundant life form in the ocean, they have extremely fast growth rates and life cycles. Microbes influence our climate, dictate much of the flow of marine energy and nutrients, and provide us with source for medicines and natural products. Phytoplankton, one plant-like group of microbes, even forms the basis of the ocean food web, as well as provides oxygen for the ocean atmosphere. Some major groups are found exclusively in the ocean, such as Cnidaria, Echinodermata, and Porifera. However, there are also mollusks, arthropods, annelids that are ocean-dwelling species but are found on land. Each of these different phylum have their own characteristics such as body symmetry, specific specialized cells, defense, feeding, circulation, and reproduction, along with other aspects of the particular phylum. As you can see, there are many different groups in the ocean that make life in the ocean unique.
The ocean is an entirely new world of life that supports millions of different organisms, for example sharks, sea stars, and tropical fish. A few examples of habitats that are very diverse are the coral reefs. Coral reefs are like cities in which a diversity of organisms come to eat or find shelter that is rich in nutrients. These reefs are enormous, they can even be viewed from space. The kelp forests serve as protection for others with an abundance of cold, clear, nutrient water and oxygen. Even the deep sea can provide a habitat for animals that like to live in the dark. Crazy, huh? But it serves to benefit them in different ways. Along with where they live, all these organisms, such as the sea star, feed on other organisms. You may think the sea star is one of the calmest organisms out there, but it can be sneaky when hungry. This act is an example of how energy is transferred from one organism to the other. Therefore, if one is contaminated with a dangerous chemical, it will ultimately be transferred to the predator. This causes a chain reaction of contamination within the ocean, and eventually leading up to us.
The coast is one of the most difficult habitats in which to live in. Tides, waves, and predation cause vertical zonation patterns along the shore, influencing the distribution and the diversity of organisms. Some of the challenges organisms face includes heavy winds, waves, harsh ocean currents, temperature, salinity changes, and predation. Different life inhabits rocky coasts, sandy coasts, and estuaries. Each type of coast presents a different set of challenges to the animals and plants that live there. Ocean habitats are defined by environmental factors. Due to interactions of abiotic factors such as salinity, temperature, oxygen, pH, light, nutrients, pressure, substrate, and circulation, ocean life is not evenly distributed temporally or spatially. It is patchy. Some regions of the ocean support more diverse and abundant life than anywhere on Earth, while much of the ocean is considered a desert. An abiotic factor in an ecosystem is one that is non-living but still has an effect on the living things within the ecosystem. Other abiotic factors in the ocean would be sunlight as well as temperature. The deeper you go in the ocean, the less sunlight there will be and the temperature will also drop. This makes the conditions less favorable for the biotic factors of the ocean, and only a few specialized types of organisms would survive there. Another important abiotic factor would be pollution. Things like garbage and oil spills can majorly affect the ocean ecosystem. This can and should be prevented to help the thousands of organisms that surround the coast.
An estuary is a transition between land and sea where fresh and salt water mix. These are places where fish, birds, and animals of all kinds gather to feed, find refuge, grow to adulthood, and stage migrations. This area is a crucial part of an animal's life because the estuaries provide nutrients and shelter. Native vegetation and bacteria are essential to the estuary's protective and nutrient-rich nature. The banks of many estuaries are amongst the most heavily populated areas of the world, with about 60% of the world's population living along estuaries and the coast. As a result, many estuaries have been destroyed and/or suffering due to human influences. Completely different from estuaries, there are also some of the deepest, darkest, and coldest ecosystems, hydrothermal vents. The deep-sea hydrothermal vents are one of the most fascinating ecosystems found deep in the ocean. Not only do they serve as a comforting home to large numbers of organisms, but the way in which these organisms survive such drastic conditions is phenomenal. These biological communities depend on a chemical process that results from the interaction of seawater and hot magma associated with underwater volcanoes, as well as hydrogen sulfide. The deep sea is an extremely harsh environment. It is dark. Below 200 meters, the light levels are too low for photosynthesis, and not a glimmer of sunlight remains beyond 1,000 meters. The water is very cold and has low levels of oxygen. Although it may seem odd that actual organisms can survive under these conditions, it is possible.